How y'all doing? How y'all doing? This is Alvin on Trying Success on the Old Fashioned Health Network, Good Health Inside and Out. And I have an amazing guest today. Her name is Miss Hazel. I'm just going to call her Miss H. Thank you so much for being on the show. Y'all disregard the Dallas Cowboys sweatshirt. Be easy on it. Don't give her no hard time.
Don't do that.
They kind of going through something. Hazel, thank you so much for being on my podcast. How you doing?
I am wonderful.
I am happy to see you. Hazel is the host of a radio show called Holistic. Is it you want to call it Holistic Living or Holistic Living with Hazel? Which one?
Holistic Living with Hazel.
Holistic Living with Hazel. So I actually be on my podcast today because I want people, first of all, to see you, and because a lot of times they hear you on the radio, and they don't get a chance to see you unless you're streaming live.
Right.
So I want you to tell the people a little bit about Holistic Living with Hazel, what it's all about, so they can start tuning in and what time it comes on and all that good stuff.
Well, I first want to start off with saying thank you for allowing me the opportunity to be on your podcast. I really look at you as someone that I look up to because you really began my start and even got my mind even wrapped around the possibility of being a radio host, right? Because it's something I never thought about.
You do a really good job in it. Your show has a lot of energy.
Yes.
You do well.
So I want to start off by saying thank you.
Well, thank you.
But Holistic Living with Hazel is really a show about empowerment, educating, and informing, and making sure that the listeners. One of the biggest things that I always tell my guests when they come on the show is that I want my listeners to have takeaways. Takeaways for whatever subject or topic that we're talking about. And the topics are really holistic in the sense of we talk about financial stability, literacy. We also talk about mental health and physical wellness, as well as community resources. And we are syndicated, as you know, so I do a lot of research when it comes to other apps, even though we're broadcasting in Atlanta, Georgia. I do a lot of research on other states that we also reach. Right. So we are reaching and expanding throughout our listener, broadcast.
Yeah, because you can hear Hazel on iHeartRadio, and you can download the Really 1100 app and listen to Hazel. And you can go to Old Fashioned Health Network Facebook page and listen to Hazel. You can go to Hazel's Holistic Podcast. holisticpodcast.com and listen to Hazel's podcast, Hazel Holistic Poet. I'm getting
and Spotify. Don't forget Spotify.
And Spotify, but you can listen to her. And Hazel's show are always energetic and interesting because I like the fact that I noticed that a lot of times, you do a great job of having a balance of both for different opinions from all spectrum, both male and female spectrum. And all kind of things. It's just not like you just sway for one different thing, and then you go from fitness to the health aspects of mental health and financial health. So you cover everything holistic, and I like that about your podcast. Let me ask you something. What do you think? And I asked this question earlier today, and seeing the type of work you do every day, anyway. What do you think the state of this country is in right now? What's your opinion about how do you feel that the country is what do you think? What kind of state we are in right now, as far as this United States is concerned, and what do you see when you work with people every day?
Yeah, good question. For me, I'm always in the state of when everybody else is in an uproar. I have to be in the state of stability, right? Mm-hmm. I have to always think beyond what we see, which a lot of people don't, and I understand that. Mm-hmm. So in lieu of that, it is the fact that I am very careful to not allow media and what is in front of us on, every day in social media as well as in the news to sway what's really going on in our everyday life. Right. And I always encourage people to look beyond what you see, right? Look beyond what you hear, not to be to where you're blind, because what's happening is what's happening. Right. But be careful not to fall into what this whole euphoria and this whole state that the media will sometimes put us in to really encourage their agenda, right?
Right.
So in all of that, I say that as America, we have a lot of work to do.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of work to do in many areas, but we've also came a long way in many areas. And there are people every day in their everyday life that's showing us that in their successes and in the things that they are doing in their everyday life. And that's what I love to focus on, because I want to always remind people you can only be responsible for your world and what you are doing every day.
Right.
And as long as you can continue to move in a progressive way, do that. Don't allow everything to consume you to where you stop moving and you didn't have to.
And you didn't have to. You're right.
You didn't have to.
Well, with us both being in the media, we do offer some better perspective about media. Our media is not like, we don't dwell on the negative or try to make things bad or doom and gloom. But, we were also taught, you remember in those Sunday school days where it says in the Bible, said be in the world but not of the world?
Yes.
So for me, I try to just be here, but understand that I'm rising above. I try to rise above what's distracting,
Yes.
COVID and racism and
Yes.
we know they're here, but I
Yes.
cannot allow it to take our joy and the focus of what we're supposed to have. So it's hard. It's hard. And then we hear our parents say, well, remember back in the days, like, I don't know what this world coming to. Now we saying the same thing.
Yes.
We say the same.
And it's so funny you say that, because when my guests come on, first of all, I'm very choosy when it comes to who I allow on the show as a guest. But I also, when I talk to each and every one, and I call my guests, they're really my co-hosts. And what I tell them is that we're not here to state the obvious, right?
Right.
We're here to provide solutions to people who want to continue on, right?
Right.
We hear the obvious every day. Like I said, the news media, social media, they put that in us every day. We see it. We get it.
Yes, we do.
But what are the solutions? And I want us to be solution focused on this show. So I'm very particular in, I don't censor, I don't censor my guests, but what I tell them that here's the agenda for this show. And I want my listeners to understand that when they tune in to Holistic Living with Hazel, there's answers there. There's solution focused there.
Right. And that's good, because as you said, you can't have an agenda without having a solution, or at least come to some type of happy meeting and say, okay, this is what we're dealing with. What's your opinion on a way to solve the problem? So, and I want people to understand that this is the studio that I'm in now is also Hazel's home as well. You might see her in here sometime, probably doing a podcast at the time. So we got just different places that we do, but I wanted her to be, actually, Hazel, you the first one. We have, out of all the people on the radio network we have, this is the first time, I've not had anybody else that we did, that I've done a podcast with from the network. So you're the first one to actually do it. Like I said, your show is so popular. Not that all the other ones are really good. Dr. Hines, Dr. Sewell, and my show and Edmund, and then After Sports Talk, and all those other shows. We're doing really well. So it's other, but I want people to know also that this is Hazel's home as well. So she may be here as well, doing shows and everything. So let me ask you something. How are you dealing with the COVID situation?
I'm kind of like you, and I will be honest. Initially, it consumed me. I did get caught up in everything that was going on and being said in the media, but I am still being very careful. COVID, unfortunately, did strike my family very closely, and it wasn't fun. I think it was probably one of the scariest things in my life that I've had to deal with. I have not caught COVID, and I'm grateful for that.
Yes, please be, because I've had it.
But I'm just dealing. I'm a praying person, and so I'm just dealing. It's kind of like what you said earlier. I'm just trying to rise above, but I'm being smart. I see what's in front of me, right? But I'm not allowing it to consume me anymore.
Okay, yeah. So, well, and all we can do is go by, and at this point, we know it's here to stay.
Yeah,
for the most part, and we just learn how to deal with it. and learning to be as safe as we can, because it for me, everybody got their own idea of what you can do to get around it, and everybody got their own philosophy. This will work, that'll work. But at the end of the day, you know, you just can only be as safe as you can be. You just cannot let this consume your life where you can't live a life every day, you know? You got to keep it moving, you know? So, I mean,
I had a guest on my show. We actually did a show, not per se on COVID, but it was to jumpstart your wellness in 2022. Okay. And I had two guests on the show, Jennifer Bell of My Body Rocks, and Camila Alameen Secret. She has a CMOS company called Mossed Up. Okay. And we concentrated more on the immune system, right?
Okay.
Because I think we've gotten so far, and I understand the shots and immune and all that vaccine. Right. I get it.
Right.
But what our God-given body does naturally, I think it's not enough talk about that.
Exactly.
So we had a very interesting show, and we got a lot of good feedback because we really honed in on the immune system and how we can continue to develop the immune system so that our bodies can do what it naturally was designed to do. Right. And that was to fight off diseases.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. You know, you're right about that, because some things, everything you just can't rely on just medicine, because taking the medicine is great. I mean, for the best you can. But if you're taking medicine and still got the same bad habits, then you're going to need for something else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad. And what was the name of her CMOS? What was the name of the company again?
Her company's called Mossed Up.
Okay. Mossed Up. Did she give you something to try?
Oh, I use it.
Oh, okay. No wonder we looking so vibrant over there.
I use it.
How is it? Can you tell the health benefits that you've seen with doing it? Have you noticed anything?
Well, CMOS has our bodies have 124 natural nutrients, and CMOS has 92.
Okay.
So you think about, you know, how many nutrients you're getting from taking this CMOS, and you can take it in different ways. She has distributed it in the ways of I think she has gels, like applesauce gels. She also has what do you call it? Smoothies, which I'm a fan of.
Okay.
And she also has like little shots and things like that you can take. So she has she has a great company, and she takes so much pride in what she does in making the CMOS. And I value her because of the fact that she's very, very educated.
Okay. And that makes
that CMOS. Okay. And so it's got weight loss benefits as well.
Okay.
Which I'm very interested in.
Okay. Well, good. As I told people, I know you have great guests and stuff on your show. I wanted them to see the person behind the show. So I wanted y'all to meet Hazel today, so you can keep up with Hazel and see what she got going on.
And join me. Come on in the show.
Join the show now. So you know I cannot do this without asking about your famous father. Can you please tell people who your father is, seeing that Black History is coming up?
Yes, my dad was one of the Woolworth sit-in participants. He was actually on the second day, and the story of the Woolworth sit-ins, if you have not heard, not been told about it in the history books, please go read it. I use that story in many, many ways, working with clients, talking about perseverance, talking about tenacity, talking about how one day can change your whole entire life.
Right.
It's a story behind it. My dad's right now in the process of a book deal as well as a movie deal. Okay. So I'm really, really excited about that. So yeah. Okay.
Are you in the movie?
And the Woolworth sit-ins, if anybody didn't know, it took place in Greensboro, North Carolina, and it was the anti students who participated in the Woolworth sit-ins.
Okay, now are you in the movie?
I'm trying to be. I'm trying to let them know that, listen, your youngest daughter needs to be in this movie.
You are one of his biggest fans. I can tell you that for sure.
Yes.
Wow. Well, I want if he's
and I can play myself. I'm very animated. Like
I try to tell the people, I'm like, all right, Hazel is never boring at all. If Hazel is quiet, okay, you be like, are you feeling okay? Because Hazel, you always on the brighter side of whatever the day is, regardless of how bad it may look to others. You just always like, well, it'll be okay, which is really, really, really.
I try to be. I really try to be, because I what I do live by is that things could be worse, and there are people out here that have it 10 times as worse than you do.
Right.
And I think because of my profession, where I'm listening and hear people, people's lives, just in total ruin, I think it's always given me a different perspective. Not to say I don't have my days, Alvin. I do.
I understand. I do. You carry the weight of a lot of people on your shoulder.
I do.
Yes.
I do.
I understand. And I appreciate what you do.
And this is why I love this platform, where I really am fulfilled every time I go live and broadcast on the show. I feel so fulfilled that I'm helping other people and bringing people to success the way that I can.
Right. Well, I want you to make sure that whenever you get a chance to, I want you to come by the studio and do what I'm doing here, so people can. I would love to see you in the studio. We try to do stuff safe around here, y'all. So that's why we don't do much, but we do a lot. We don't do much, but we do a lot. So Hazel,
I mean, you're great.
I try. I promise.
You're great.
When I tell you God got me spoiled so riding, oh my God, I'm riding.
You're worse than me?
Oh my God, because I don't feel like God doing nothing for nobody but me. I'm riding.
Oh, okay.
Spoil. So is there anything else you would like for your listeners to know before we, end the show? What do you want people to hear?
Just the fact that, holistic living was really birthed out of having people have that opportunity to have a tool that they can tune in and get answers. And so I really want you guys to come in. If you aren't already listening to the show, if you are listening to the show, bring other people in, because we need this type of platform.
Yes.
We need this type of platform because, so many people have platforms now because of social media. But there's a reason why everybody wasn't supposed to have platforms, okay?
Like everybody ain't supposed to be preaching like Lord.
Right. So now with social media, everybody's got a platform. And so
you're right.
And they don't need it.
Everybody got a platform. Go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. But I want people to know that this platform is structured and it is formalized to make sure that you can leave the broadcast on a positive note, and giving you tools so that you can move forward and be successful in life. And it's something that you just can't avoid, and you shouldn't be missing on a monthly basis.
And Hazel even I know you even offer credit repair. People, you really just in depth trying to go somewhere to help people at their lowest, you know what I'm saying? Which I really appreciate that. We're happy that you're part of the Old Fashioned Health Network. I really am.
Yes, financial literacy is the key, okay?
Yes,
it's the key, and we do that as well on the show. So I do have a credit repair business where I'm helping thousands of people to get their credits together and dispel the myth that credit doesn't mean anything, because it does.
Right.
And so you can always go on my webpage as well, and I can give my information if anyone needs or looking for those with credit repair. And I want to say more so, I'm financial literacy. Credit repair will come with it, and it is a plus. But when you finish, my goal is that when you finish working with me, that you are able to be financially free.
What's your website for that?
It is H. Henderson. Well, I'll give you this one so that it'll be easier. It's a new day 02@yahoo.com. So it's ANUDAY02@yahoo.com.
Okay. Hazel, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Now, we got to do this more often, right? So you kind of get acclimated to you. All right with it, right? You comfortable?
I love it. And I want to be on your radio show again. That was fun.
You are always welcome. So I'm so busy with the school and everything. So we'll talk about that after we get off the air. But there's a lot going on with the kids show. You know, we have an online school now for kids, and we got a lot of students. So it's a lot of stuff going on with that. But we'll talk about that as well.
Okay.
All right, Hazel. Thank you so much. Tell everyone home I said hello, and
I will.
Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
All right.
All right. Have a good one.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.